So today we have Dr. Sadaf with us. So Dr. Sadaf is a leading practitioner of homeopathy. She is practicing since 11 years. She has been in association with the Other Song Academy since its inception. She is a visiting consultant and faculty at the Other Song Academy. She has taught in various colleges, and she is also associated in free homeopathic therapies to orphanage kids, to prisoner females and others.
Hello everyone, thank you Soni. So today I'm here to share my views on Materia Medica. So Materia Medica we know is the most essential and the most concrete pillar of homeopathy. So, but it is also at the same time very difficult, right? So there is time and again we see problems because there are different schools of thought. So today in my topic, I'll be covering with you mainly is what are the different approaches in Materia Medica. I'll just give you a brief what are the discussions we are going to do, okay? Number one, Materia Medica, different construct of Materia Medica, system understanding, and one remedy we will pick up and we will try to discuss on that. Okay. So before I start, I would like to know, from people or the audience here that what are your difficulties in Materia Medica, or what happens when you try to understand a Materia Medica, a remedy with the aspect of Materia Medica, or when you're trying and sitting with the books, when you're sitting in front of a patient, what is it that the first thing that comes to your mind? Y'all can just put it in the chat box, just in few words if you can say. You cannot remember all the symptoms, right? How to correlate with the patient, you forget easily, difficult to differentiate, symptoms of medicine gets mixed up. Yeah, it's so much mixed up. I still remember in our college days, whenever we will be asked to describe a remedy, we will find out some basic symptoms which will be very common and we'll try to extend it as much as we can. So yes, Materia Medica is, okay, it is difficult to rule out important pictures from mind features, memorizing keynote symptoms. Yeah, these are, I don't know how many of y'all must have tried reading Materia Medica Pura. I did that 2-3 times and I was lost in the maze of all the symptoms that Materia Medica Pura gives us. So over a period of time, I understood that if you want to read Materia Medica, it's not just one book that you can refer to, or just 1 or 2 symptoms you remember and Materia Medica is done. And more of it was learned by being with patients, that, okay, sometimes we think a remedy can be with this angle, but they sometimes come up with different angle. So, like I say, Materia Medica is something in homeopathy that you cannot afford to lose the sight of. Dr. Clark in his book, he writes that if at all anything is necessary or not, we don't know, but knowing Materia Medica is very important. Materia Medica is the roadmap, the timetable, the guides to your power at disposal. Right now we are facing in times where we don't know what medicines, so we have a great pandemic out there and we don't know what has to be done. There are a lot of different teachers with different viewpoints, but you need to know one thing in homeopathy. If you know Materia Medica, if you know the whole process of case taking, you can treat most of the disease, because we are looking at the person, we are looking at the individual and not just the disease per se. Okay, so Materia Medica is the most important pillar most, and the difficulties come from here because we have a wide range. You have one teacher who comes up and tells about how pathology is important. I remember in my college days, I had been to some homeopaths who will practice with 2 or 3 remedies at a time. There will be some homeopath who will talk specifically about how physical symptoms are important. There will be some homeopaths who will bet on that, no, it is just the mind symptoms that is important. But we forget that homeopathy is a big array of uh, symptoms and possibilities. Okay, like we say, law of individualization. So if we say it, that no one remedy is same for common disease, similarly, not one approach can be sufficient enough for a particular remedy understanding or particular patient understanding. So we have, okay, let me go. So we have keynotes, okay, at our disposal. We have system understanding, we have doctrine of signature, we have clinical pathological understandings, we have miasmatic understandings, we have complementary and similar remedies. Then we have repertory, which helps us through rubrics to construct what are the different system of understanding. See, whenever you have to study a drug, okay, we need to understand the drug from its core value, where it is coming from, okay, where it is being, what is the chemical composition, how is the habitat of the drug, how is this drug present in the particular area, what are the herbal indications. This I learned from Dr. Sarkar when he will say that, you know, in India, there are so many Indian drugs that we ignore and the flora fauna that we ignore. There are so many drugs yet to see and then we prescribe because we are not aware of it. Okay, like a simple example of, say, Carica papaya, then you have Azadirachta indica. These are all Indian drugs which are less proven and most often ignored drugs. Okay, so we need to go and work on these drugs also. But the confusion is when you open your Materia Medica, and like most of y'all over here said, you know, okay, we tend to forget. I don't know how many of y'all will relate to this, but whenever I am with the Materia Medica initially, I was always like this. You know, this video often reminds me of a state of homeopaths when they struggle with homeopathy and the medicines. I don't know how many of you all will relate, but I was the one who will always relate to this.
Instead of a noun, an adjective describes a noun, a verb describes the action of a noun, an adverb describes the action of a verb. A conjunction joins two sentences together, a preposition is used to describe the relationship between a noun and a pronoun, and an interjection is a word thrown in to express feeling. Have you got it, Mr. Ishan Nandakishore? Honesty. Why can't you? Why can't you? You match me ho anda, you rose khake ganda. Grab up a baby, that's getting all wrong. अक्षर जो नाचे क्या खाई है ना? Idiot! क्यों करती नहीं try? Why? Why can't you?
Obviously, this struggle is real. Like somebody in the comment box just said that the struggle is real, and yes, it is real because there is so much of things to be said about our Materia Medica that we often go baffled. Okay, like एक remedy पढ़ते हो और दूसरे remedy पे जाते हो तो it looks just the same. We don't know, and that's when we need to understand that how Materia Medica cannot be just one-footed. Okay, it cannot be just one-sided. If you have to study Materia Medica, you need to understand Materia Medica through all different aspects. Okay, so some of the aspects that I have really found very interesting is, number one is to understand where is this remedy coming from? Which part of the kingdom? Which part in the kingdom? Suppose you're saying plant, it is a plant remedy. So in plant, which family it is coming? What parts of it is used? See, if you want to understand this, you need to understand where the flora and fauna is. Like in one of the lectures or in one of the lectures of Dr. Sarkar again, he mentioned Lycopodium and how the soil of Lycopodium where it was grown is rich in sulfur, and that's how they have a lot of interconnection in symptoms between Lycopodium and sulfur. We know iodine is a content of spongia. Okay, so spongia also has a lot of relatable symptoms to iodine. They both have affinity for thyroid glands. So similarly, you need to understand where is the remedy coming from? How? What is the soil? What is the active principle? What is the action of that particular remedy? So number one, important to understand any remedy is the origin. What is the source of this particular remedy is very important. The next important aspect is, as we all know, is the symptom aspect. What are the peculiar characteristic symptoms that we are going to see in the case? Okay. Then next important is, what are in the characteristic symptoms? Number one, what are the pathological characteristics? What are the physical characteristics? What are mental characteristics? Then next that comes to us is the remedies, how they are placed in the kingdom. How are they placed in the group? What are the group remedies that have similar kind of symptoms? How are they interrelated with each other? Then next important is, so for example, then next is the miasm. What is the pace of the remedy? What is the depth of the remedy? Is it a very acute remedy? Is it a very chronic remedy? How is it affecting the individual? Okay, what is the reaction of that individual? So the miasm is next important. Then similar group or complementary remedies. Okay, then you have repertorial rubrics, and obviously we have cases from the practice. So this being the basic, the next important part is the two approaches that has been eventually evolved. Okay, so you need to understand, okay, that there was a time, like you and me, all the stalwarts were confused. Okay, they all were confused about how do we take this ahead? How do we remember? How do we simplify? So everybody, just 1 minute. No, I'm not sharing my screen right now. I'm not doing it from my PowerPoint. When I come to my PowerPoint, I'll share my screen. So when you come to a particular remedy, or sorry, what I was like, okay, complementary remedies. Okay. No, which point I was at? Okay, I think my voice is not coming, so I'll use my headphone. Just give me 1 minute, I'll connect my headphone. Am I audible now? Hello? Okay. Okay, can I continue? Okay, fine. So we have a lot of range of symptoms. So we had Kent, we had Boric, we had Clark, we had Boger. Everybody is kind of mixed up. That how do we remember, right? How do we remember a remedy? What is the format that we remember? How do we know that we are on the right track? I remember most of the time in my college days when I was asked that, okay, can you treat this condition for sure? There will be a doubt, okay? There will be a doubt that, okay, am I able to do it? Will my remedy be right? Am I coming to a right simillimum? But I have used this approach and I had learned from this teacher that approach. And there was a lot of confusion till the time I understood that there is not one way to understand a remedy, okay? Let me give you an example. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so when you look at this picture from this angle, you can have a brief idea of what the person or who the person is. We may not be able to say for sure, okay, but we can have different guesses, okay. If you look from one angle, we know that it is a famous Indian celebrity actor. Her name is Kajal. And then from this side, for sure, you can say, okay, this is Kajal. So it is similarly like this. You know, the presentation of our cases are more or less like this. Sometimes you have a view of a remedy from one angle, from second or third. We are lucky if we get a full blown picture that is known as the constitutional or drug picture of the remedy. We'll be lucky to know, okay? But more often, this is how we get the picture. So that's when I remember what Phatak said, that you should be able to understand that, okay, this is the remedy, like how you recognize your friend. You know, how will you recognize a friend? That's how you need to understand a remedy. So going with this, everybody tried to minimize the confusion. And they came up with different system of understanding. Some came up with different understanding. And I think the one which I relate to most is the kingdom understanding, or how Sir Dr. Shankaran has distributed into different plant, mineral, animal kingdoms, the sensation method in that aspect. There are many other teachers who have grouped, like we know about Jan Scholten, who has done a complete mineral understanding. We know about Mikhail Yakir, who's working on the class and subclass of the plant. So different teachers are working just to simplify or to group the remedies into a particular group so that the understanding of the remedy becomes easier. Okay, so there's no need to confuse. It's very simple that we have, at one hand we have an approach which is a symptomatic approach. At another hand you have an approach which is a systematic approach. These both approaches are just useful to navigate you to the right remedy. Not one is right or not one is wrong. Nobody is completely right or nobody is completely wrong over here. Okay, so this is just one of the aspect. And if you get to integrate both the symptom and the system aspect in the case, your life becomes more easy. You become more sure about the remedy that you're going to prescribe. That's what we know as the synergy. Okay, so I like to start with the case. Okay, now this is a case which I got from one of our known colleague, and she was treating this case and she had given several remedies, but will not find any particular relief to that patient. So what she said was, doctor, if you can just interact and see with this patient, how you can go ahead, and it is a complete psychological case and I'm not able to find out what it is. I said, fine, when I come next time, so you can, I'll discuss it in person with this case. Okay. So this female was 53-year-old female. She had depression. She was working as an insurance agent and she was also doing tailoring work. So the thing was, she was financially quite deprived and she was running through too many jobs, too many work, and to make through her needs. And there was this very unique problem that was hampering her job as well as her living. Okay. So very interesting thing happened during the consultation even started. So we were, before this case, we had one more patient and that patient was taking quite a lot of time. And this female was simply getting irritated sitting outside. Like she will make faces, she will snap at the receptionist, she will snap at the people, and she'll try to come inside and she'll try to say, oh, please do it fast. I'm in a rush, I'm in a rush. So finally I took her in. So when I took her in, she was in a very irritated state. Somehow we explained to her and we told her the condition of the previous patient. So she calmed down and we started with the case. So this was a very important observation I made at a very beginning, that this patient was not ready to wait. She was not ready to stop there. Okay. So as the case started, I asked her, tell me, what is your main problem? She says that anything I eat, okay, or anything I do triggers my cough. I have a tingling sensation in my throat continuously. And when I lie down, there is too much of cough. And the similar tingling sensation is there in my vaginal region. Okay, I feel it every now and then. And then there was a brief pause. And after that, she was trying to look here and there. I asked her what happened. So she said, no, I'm just trying to check if somebody's around. You know, I don't want anybody to know about this. I said, fine. So I made a quite note of this symptom of hers. Okay, again. So I said, talk more about this tingling sensation or this. So she was quite hesitant, and then somehow she came out with it. She said, there is a, you know, when I am talking to men, okay, like I'm an insurance agent, so I have to go, I have to sell my policy. So when I'm talking to anyone and any men of any age, I get a lot of sexual excitement and a lot of sexual thoughts. And I feel very bad about it, because what if they come to know, okay, like any man around me, you know, I will become very this, and so much so that I will want to leave that place, because staying in that place becomes very difficult for me. Okay, I cannot be there, because once I'm surrounded by men, there are a lot of sexual thoughts that I get. So she dwells on these thoughts for long thing. She said, I try my level best. You know, I keep myself engrossed in a lot of things. And I'm so busy, super busy every day, that, you know, I should not have space for all these thoughts, because it's a sin. You know, I am a Brahmin, I'm a Hindu, and I'm a real good practicing woman. I am praying, I pray day in and day out. And how come these thoughts come to me? This is not what is acceptable from a normal, honorable lady. What if people come to know? I said, fine. So there were a lot of thoughts of various remedies, but at this point, I paid attention to two important symptoms over here for me. Number one, we know there's a lot of lascivious thoughts. Number two, we can see a definite sign of her coping up with the situation. How is her coping up mechanism? She wants to avoid, she wants to hide, okay? She doesn't want her real self to be revealed, and she's trying all possible means to keep everything under a lot of control. Am I clear? Any doubts till here? I'll just continue, maybe doubts we will take further. Okay, so I'll just continue the session. Then next she said was, okay, if someone comes to know, so I said, how does this, so I have a set of questions which I made sure I asked my patients. So I asked her, how does this affects you and your life, that if you have this thought, so what's wrong in that? So she says, you know, it is a problem for me, because if people come to know about me, it will not be good. You know, and she was from a village set up in India, when a very conservative background. And so for her, it was very difficult that she is having so much thoughts. So she says, I need to keep away from these thoughts. I can't reveal it to people. You know, it is not good. People coming, I will lose respect. So I pray and immerse myself in puja. I try to ask my God that I should not do anything that is wrong. But even when I'm praying, okay, so she comes to a point, she said, every evening when I have to light up a diya, or when I'm doing my puja work, every evening I have this problem where I am praying, but my mind is talking to me all sexual thoughts. And I don't know what to do at that moment. I feel very guilty. I feel I'm doing something very bad. God will punish me for this. So there is so this is all situation that she was talking about. There's some message in the chat room. Let me read. Okay, so I asked her that, how does this feels to you? So she says there's a constant heavy feeling. Okay, there is a feeling of a weight on my chest, and I feel that it's being tightening. You know, and she made this action. I feel it's like this, and I want to just throw it off. This whole feeling, I need to throw it off because I cannot bear this. You know, I feel if what do I do so that I can bring things under control? If people will come to know, I'll be thrown off from people. I don't want to. I'm a good person. And then she was like, you know, in a very sad face, and you could see the guilt she was feeling. A lot of consciousness of her own self was visible. Then I asked her that what are the cause, like how did it start? So 2 questions. Number 1, what is the effect of it? Second, how did it start? What triggered this thing? So she said, you know, all this thing started when my husband was not well. He had a psychotic breakdown. And when this happened, he used to behave very weird. He will go out and he will just show his genitals to people. He will masturbate in open. Like he was completely not in any sense. And I felt very ashamed. When I first saw all this, I almost fainted. I felt so ashamed about it. Like what people are going to think, what the society is going to think. I have a daughter, you know, and I felt really very bad about it. And I just wanted I wanted to push him off. And I really felt very bad. So I said, what was the main feeling you were there? So she said it was more like I felt like I'm his wife, and for a long we had no relationship. Okay, we had no relationship, we had no problem, and suddenly he's looking at other females. So here I got a sense of a feeling of being abandoned, of not being included. Okay, so you know, for a long time I have been asking for certain things, and he's not been, you know, being standing up to it, but now he's looking at other females and doing it. So it was very devastating for me. Yeah, I tried a lot to cover up. Everyone will ask and I will try to cover it up with a lot of excuses. I tried avoiding people, you know, and while she was saying this, continuously her hand was like that, you know, when she was talking about her husband, while she was talking about everything. So she was continuously doing this. So I asked her, what is this? So she obviously didn't relate to it much and she didn't go ahead. Okay. But she said it was like, he didn't wanted me. And she would, every time she would say he didn't wanted me or he will not do it. And her hand gestures will go on like this for a long time. Okay. So how does all this situation, so I told her there are a lot of things going on in your life. Okay. There is this emotional problem that you are going through. Your husband did something. Said it's not just that, you know, she said that I don't have my own house. Okay. My husband, his attitude is like, just do daily jobs. He's a painter, so if he gets some business he will do, otherwise he will not do anything. So I am the person who has to run through, because we have to stand in public. You know, I avoid going to family functions, okay, because of my husband behavior. It is very shameful. Again, here she felt the sense that somehow in the society her family could not be accepted because she was, number one, her husband's problem, number two, because they didn't own a house. So how does this feel? So here again she said, I feel there's too much of heaviness, as if somebody is just putting a lot of weight on me and I just wanted to push it off, but it's not coming out. Okay, so there's too much of weight on me. What are the dreams? So I tried to push a lot at this point, but she wouldn't go further. So I went into the next area and I asked her, what are your dreams? So in that dream, she said, I have a dream in which I feel I'm fallen into a hole. Okay. And everybody is just about to make noise and I just feel I want to hide there. Okay. Then she says that there is a snakes. I see a lot of snakes coming and they're all coming in a group and I'm all alone. I don't know what to do. I asked her more to describe her experience in the dream, but she wouldn't go further. She just said, I just remember this. Nothing more she could describe about her dreams. As a nature, she said, I am extremely sensitive person. I don't like anybody talking rudely to me, or anybody says anything, I may just react. I am very careful. I'm a very religious person. I do all my puja part, everything. I try to make sure that all the work is done. So she was a very strong personal, as per when it comes to her responsibility. She will take care of everyone. She will, like I said, because her husband was not doing well, she will do multiple jobs so that she could, go through or take care of her expenses. So she was very hardworking, and she was a very religious person, very responsible. She said, when I am free, there is constant thoughts going on about the husband, about this, about that. What if people come to know? What if? There were a lot of what if that she complained about, of things happening. Okay. Then she said, I'm mainly sad right now about my current situation, because I'm such a religious, such a holy person, and such thing happening to me is not very acceptable. So she was quite sad about it. Yeah, so this was the remedy. This was the more or less the case. Okay. So what are the main theme or main ideas that you get? Okay, I don't want you all to come to the remedy first. If you come, like somebody has written, is it HIOS? No, I don't want you to come to the remedy. I want you to understand what is the essence of the case. I want one or two people to just type in the chat corner, what are the main significant point that you have seen in the case. Don't write the remedy. I want you all to write the significant point. Yes, forsaken feeling. What people will think about me. Feeling of hiding. Mortification, guilt, jealous, right. Embarrassment, right. She's a very sensitive person. Abandoned. Leprous miasm, I will not ask you to go to miasm directly. Okay. Religious alternating with sexuality. Yes, very important. Sense of being omitted, want of appreciation, shameless thoughts, extreme sensitivity to opinions of others, sensitive to rudeness, inclusion and exclusion feeling, lascivious, very sensitive, sensitivity and guilt feeling, jealous, right? Amorous. Yeah, so the basic essence, want to hide, high morals, yes. Tightness in the chest. Okay, fine. So I'll go ahead now, because high sense of responsibility, yes. Okay, I'll take last 2-3 comments and then I'll go ahead with the case. Guilty feeling, what people or society will think. Sexual thoughts, duty bound. Right. Okay, fine. So yes, everybody is more or less right, and this is the key of the case. So now we need to understand there are two aspects of a case. One is the sensitivity of this case, and another is the coping up mechanism of the case. Okay. So what is the sensitivity of this patient? Number one, the sensitivity of this patient is lasciviousness, sexual thoughts. Okay. Number two is, what are people going to think about me, and are they going to include me? My husband, whom I'm married to all these years, okay, why is he not attracted to me and he's attracted to other females? So you see the sensitivity, these are the point of sensitivity. And when you take it ahead, it boils down to tight feeling and pushed out feeling. And then you see the opposite, the coping up mechanism over here, where she's trying to cover up. She's constantly trying to cover up. Okay. She's trying to hide. She's trying to avoid situation where her problems will come out. So we see here a plant sensitivity, okay, and psychotic miasm. Okay. So in plants, you have, yes, Liliaceae family, where you have a theme of being included and being excluded. Yeah. Okay. So you have one side this, then you have a set of rubrics, okay, where if you repertorize that, okay, if you repertorize this set of rubrics, you come to Okay, I'll have to stop share and then show you my repertoire chart. So if you take these rubrics, okay, you see the first remedy that comes. I'll just extend this. These are the rubrics. I'll improve the font of the case. I hope it's visible to everyone. These are the rubrics that I had considered. Okay, despair, religious, alternating with sexual excitement. Despair, religious, anxiety, salvation about, lascivious, lustfulness, religious affection, alternating with sexual excitement, tingling, prickling, voluptuous, responsibility strong, and libido, desire, increase. And if you see this, the first remedy that comes is Lilium Tig, which is from Liliaceae family, psychotic miasm. Okay, so at one side you have the symptoms, okay, where she's hurried, where she's snappish, where she has this repressed sexual desire, and one keynote symptom, okay, must keep busy, okay, to avoid the sexual thoughts, okay. She needs to be continuously busy. Then society preferred, and on the other side you have a systematic understanding where there are key words of this particular family, okay. The main theme of Liliaceae family is the sensitivity of being forced out, excluded, okay, and the attractive behavior is response to feeling of being forced out, and hence we know Liliaceae or Lilium Tig has this particular symptom of prolapses, okay, wherein they feel that the whole content is going to come out of the uterus and they need to hold on, which is very similar like sepia. So Margaret Tyler, in her book, she writes it very interestingly that sepia and Lilium Tig, they are exactly very similar, okay, they are exactly very same, only in this particular symptoms of prolapses, but the personalities are completely opposite. Where at one side, Lilium Tig craves for meat, sepia has aversion for meat. Where at one side, there is a lot of sexual excitement in Lilium Tig, sepia has complete aversion to coitus. Okay? So both the polarities you can see they are both opposite. Liliaceae family has a sphere of action where everything is brought into excitement, and hence there is fluttering, there is palpitation. So there is feeling of the heart is going to cease because of so much of constriction, which is like that in cactus. Okay, the diary of Lilium Tig. Okay, moment the female person is out on the bed, okay, she wants to rush to the closet, just like sulfur and merc salt. Okay, but the only difference there is the difference is in merc salt you have tenesmus, you have mucus, you have blood. It's more syphilitic. Lilium Tig is more psychotic. Okay, so these are some basic differences which helps you to understand a remedy from various aspects. Okay, so this is what you call the synergy. What is the main theme? What is the genius of a remedy? You need to understand how can you identify, like if you see this, you know it is this remedy, okay? Then are your keynotes, and then comes the system understanding. When you club all these things together, you can come to one single remedy, okay? So I will like to play the follow-up of this patient. I will keep the video aside and I'll play the audio of this patient, homeopath, okay? Because number one, it's an online media, so just to protect the patient's confidentiality. Just give me 2 minutes, I'll play the follow-up video of this patient. Can you hear the audio of the case?
She came to me for consultation with a particular symptom.
Okay.
First symptom was that actually she is a tailor and she
Okay, let me try once again.
LIC agency has started because she had some financial problem. To overcome that, she is doing this LIC.
Can you hear it now? Microphone to computer speaker.
For or talking to men, looking at their eyes, men, I get sexual thoughts, and men, this at their sexual thoughts I get even talking to she boys also. Lamb. Even little boys also. Even she is looking at. She has the thought that, or she has the feeling that this oil is she pouring is like menstrual blood is flowing. So she feel it was the main thing or main problem she had. Whenever she puts oil in the lamp, she feels it is menstrual blood, and whenever she looks at men or boys and talking to them, she had sexual thought. And for this, I tried 2 to 3 medicines, and only partial improvement was there. So Dr. Sadaf, whenever she's a visiting consultant at my clinic once in 2 months, and whenever when she came, I refer her to Dr. Sadaf, and she had given prescribed Liliantignum for her case, and she recovered from her this problem completely. Now she is doing very well, and even conducting her LIC agency very successfully. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was now, it's more than a year now that she's off her all her treatment, and she only comes if there is any acute. So yes, this was the case, and yes, the remedy that was given was Lilium Tig 1M. Lilium Tig 1M we gave her few doses, not just one dose. We repeated her 1 or 2 times, and then after that we didn't repeat it. So Lilium Tig 1M was the remedy that was given to her. Initially, actually, we started with 200 because it was a psychiatric case. So this is what I learned from Dr. Mahesh Gandhi, that in psychiatric cases, you start with the 200 potency, and then eventually you can increase the potency if you feel there is no much aggravation with the patient. So when she was not much aggravated, we gave her 1M, and after that, she's been doing well, and she has not come for the same symptoms again. So yes, I think we are above our time. So Sony is sending me a message to stop. Anybody has any questions regarding the case or the drug? Stop the share so that I can see the 1M. How much interval? So 1M, we gave it only when we could see that her state was aggravated. So 200 was the first month we gave. 1M we gave after, say, around after a month, and then second dose was given after a month, and then we stopped it. So yeah, Mohini Gangas, ma'am, from which book I can study as a beginner? So to answer that question, I will say my all-time favorite book has always been Kent and Tyler. So I normally refer that, and Sir's Souls of Remedy. These are the books that are like at my desktop in my clinic, and I always go up to that. How do you differentiate between kingdom like plant and animal? Can you explain the sensitivity aspect? Okay, so I'll take this one question at a time. Shreya. So how do you differentiate between kingdom, plant and animal? Okay, so now in this remedy per se, it is very tricky because Lilium Tig is a remedy which shows a lot of animal features also and plant features also. Okay, so like how Dr. Shankaran, he wrote in his book Soul of Remedy for the Lilium Tig, okay, that this particular remedy has both the plant and animal part. Okay, while the plant part of the remedy has to do with lot of purity, lot of religiousness, the animal part of the remedy has to do with a lot of sexuality and lot of passion. So hence in this remedy per se, you see both the sides alternating. Okay, so you have religious, the main key symptom of this remedy is religiousness alternating with increased sexual desires. So they are both alternately present in this case. Okay, so yeah, so there is at one side there is sensitivity, and one side this is there in the case. So which other remedy crossed your mind? So the other remedy that crossed to my mind was obviously hyoscyamus. Second that crossed to my mind was oregano. Okay, so okay, I think we are coming to close of the session because I have to stop the session. We have a next session coming up at 5. Which I'll just answer two or three more questions. Any other general management like counseling necessary for psychiatric cases? Yes, I do counsel with them. I do counseling with them, but only if the patient is ready to listen to you. If the patient is willing to do his own journey, I normally don't interfere with counseling or therapy. In which repertory, normally I use Kent and complete repertory. How much time the patient completely cured? So it took almost 6-7 months for this patient to completely cure. So how many doses? I'll say we gave 2 to 3 doses, and in between we just gave her placebo. Okay. So thank you all. Thank you for listening, and I hope you all enjoyed the session, to learn something.
So thank you so much, Dr. Sadaf, for such a wonderful
So we have
knowledge
a
you
next
have
session
shared.
coming up at 5 o'clock. Soni can guide you for the next session.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Sadaf, for such a wonderful session, knowledge you have shared with us. And I would like to say that it's your birthday, so wish you a very happy birthday. And thirdly, see, we have a session at 5 p.m. I have already posted the link to join the session. So
Thank
this
you,
session is
everyone.
on nutrition. So Dr. Komal Gandhi is nutritionist at Other Song. She'll be talking up in these summers how to regenerate your skin and how to nourish itself. So you can join. I have posted the link in the chat box, and I have also posted the link email ID, that is the othersong1@gmail.com. In case you have any queries to ask Dr. Sadaf, you can mail on that. So I would like to thank you all of you to attending this webinar. Hope you had a great learning session.